Hi everyone, sorry there was no video last week. I was a bit busy and the bank holiday was looming, so I thought I'd skip a week. I'll make up for it today though with an insightful look into your website. By no means are these tips right or wrong, worse or better than what you're currently doing. They're simply my opinions and implementations I have and use on my own website. It's worth stating that most of the information in this video will relate to WordPress based websites, as that is what I use. If you're on Squarespace or anything else, keep watching as some of the tips will still apply. But before we dive in, be a good egg, hit the subscribe and like buttons. It's not too much to ask for the amount of work that goes into the videos. Right, that's the intro, let's dive in. Okay, tip 1, hosting. As with every website, you need hosting. Without it, you can't have a live website. There are many providers out there, and over the years, I've used several. Back in the day when I was a web designer, I even had a reseller account with Heart Internet and had over 100 clients who paid me for hosting and domain renewals. So I'd like to say I have a pretty good experience and knowledgeable in the realms of hosting, domains, web design. A major name bandied about when talking about hosting is SiteGround. SiteGround is a web hosting company founded in 2004 in Bulgaria. As of April 2023, it provides hosting for about 2.8 million domains worldwide. So SiteGround was the company of choice for me for many years, but about 3 to 4 years ago I actually switched to Crystal. Crystal Hosting is a UK-based independent hosting company. I say independent as many of the names you know or may have heard of, such as Heart Internet, 123reg, Bluehost and about 100 others, are all actually owned by just 2 big companies who gobbled them all up to create a monopoly. Crystal is independent and UK based and has fantastic customer service along with the important stuff like speed and reliability. Their hosting packages utilise Lightspeed, which is blazing fast memory caching to speed up the websites. They combine this with their SSD disks for both files and MySQL. You'll experience superior performance for your website. If you have the budget, you can also opt to pay for their Sapphire package, which will enable even faster SSD speeds due to using NVMe disks, as well as resource boosts in RAM, CPU cores on the server. I've also had their Ruby package and it's been brilliant and handles everything I throw at it. So my recommendation for hosting, tip 1, should you need it, will be Crystal at £9.99 per month at the time of recording. Tip 2, themes. Okay, you have your hosting, great stuff. It's time to build a website or revamp your current site. So back in December of 2022, when I ran my first workshop, there was a section in there about Google page speed scores. I retrieved the desktop and mobile scores for everyone on the workshop, and there were some shocked faces, with scores as low as 23 out of 100. In comparison, both desktop and mobile scores for my own website are close to 100 out of 100. This is largely down to the theme I use, Cadence. There is a free version of Cadence and blocks, but I pay for the Essential bundle, which gives pro blocks and features such as custom fonts, so I can use my brand font on my website. Cadence is a lightweight theme with no bloat or limitations. You can create a basic looking site that works fast using Cadence, such as header, content blocks and then the footer, but if you have a bit of know-how, experience in web design, etc. and are comfortable with CSS, you can make Cadence sites look pretty decent while keeping the speed. We don't need to sacrifice aesthetics for speed, we can have both. My site is 100% Cadence and blocks and I think it looks great, hopefully you agree. The way Cadence works is essentially how I just described. You can choose a layout for your headers and footers, and then the bit in the middle, the content, is just drag and drop blocks. Very simple to use, and like I said, if you have even more knowledge and know-how, you can spice it up. But even a beginner should be able to get something nice. It includes some built-in templates for blocks, and one of the key features I use all the time on my site is reusable blocks. You can create a block, save it, much like a template. You can then place that block on another page. My footer with the links in is a reusable block. This is where the beauty is though. I change the block and I hit save and it updates site-wide. It's amazing. Anyway, I'll not dive into a full-length web design course here. That's maybe for down the line. So tip 2 is to get Cadence and Cadence blocks. Tip 3, target audience. So with this tip, it's more of a thought-provoking tip and something I highly recommend doing. As with all your marketing efforts, including social media, your website should be targeting the audience you want to attract. Sounds obvious, but not always. Your website isn't for your brides and grooms that you've just shot last week at that lovely venue. It's for future clients. With that being said, let's move into tip 4, which relates to the subject of target audience. So tip 4, clear out the old. With our target audience in mind, I photographed over 250 weddings, and on my blog there may be 40 weddings in the blog. The blog for me is just a place to store pages Google can find and serve the future potential bookings. It needs to be my best work, venues I no longer work at due to my price point, or venues I have shot in the past which aren't really my cup of tea, or simply removed or never placed on the site in the first place. I hear you say, what about the SEO potential? Well, let's say you have 250 wedding blogs on your website for every wedding over 6 years, for example. Firstly, bride A Googles and sees a link to your website for her venue, clicks on it, and it's a blog post from year 1 of your business. Now ask yourself how much you as a photographer has changed since year 1. That's 5 years ago in this example. Your compositions are probably much better, or at least they should be. Your quality of work is much higher. Your editing preset and style will 100% have changed for the better. So bride A is now staring at outdated work. Granted, she might visit other parts of your website, but that blog post from 6 years ago was her first impression of your work. Now I know it might not be as cut and dry as that, but you get my point. And it's worth asking yourself, do I want outdated old work on my website? For me, I decided not to. I was looking at a few of a photographer's blogs recently, and they had everything in their blog from years gone by. And the work I found in those blogs posts was night and day to what they produce now. There's no way I personally would want that gulf in quality on my website or marketing platforms. You're never going to post 6-year-old photos which don't reflect your current standards, quality, shooting, editing on social media. So why is it on your website? Plenty food for thought there, but it's your choice. Once you have your style in place, and it's not going to change as it can take some time to find your style and editing style. It took me just under 5 years to really hit where I wanted to shoot, hence dropping off camera flash. My editing style is consistent and permanent, so all weddings on my blog going forward can stay, as they will always match my style. However, you should always be open to removing old blog posts should it fall out of your marketing parameters. This leads me on to tip 5. So tip 5 is what I like to call the 3 R's. Okay, this is a tip I'll expand on more down the line in my bigger project, but it basically stands for revisit, re-edit, repost. If you change your style, much like I did when I removed off-camera flash from my approach, I then went and revisited my blog posts and website in general and removed all off-camera flash work. There's just no point showing it if I'm not shooting it. Show what you want to shoot, as I say that all the time. Revisiting weddings I want on the website, and then reselect and re-edit 20 to 30 photos from each wedding I want on the website and socials, so that's up to date with current editing styles. You don't want and shouldn't have mixed editing styles on your website, socials, or marketing. Inconsistency leads to future customers not trusting in your product. Once your images are re-edited, repost them to the website blog page, removing the old images. Consistency is key. Tip 6. Let's talk optimization. The first plugin I'm going to talk about is WP Rocket. I've used this for years, it's brilliant. It's a paid for plugin, but like anything in life, you get what you pay for. WP Rocket handles caching, which is where your pages are temporarily stored as a whole and delivered to the user for speed, rather than accessing and downloading the parts of the page each time a user asks for it. It also handles file optimization for CSS and JavaScript, including render blocking and deferring CSS and JavaScript. Yes, I know, it all sounds a bit geeky, but you want this stuff enabled. WP Rocket makes it easy with their plugin interface. Basically, it's a tick box and you're good to go. CDN support, which is a content delivery network, is also available, and importantly for us as photographers, WP Rocket has image lazy loading. This leads me to tip 7. Tip 7, Imagify. Imagify is a plugin from WP Rocket which serves as a compression plugin for your images, a bit like JPEG Mini. It has by default smart compression for the biggest file saving without losing quality, but if you're happy to lose a little file saving, you can serve lossless compression which still reduces your images, but images appear a bit cleaner, which is what I have enabled on my setup. Also part of Imagify is the ability to create WebP images and serve them on the front end for fast loading and first contentful paint, which is geeky again, but it all helps with your Google page speed score. Tip 8, keywording and alt tags. It's 2023. Hopefully no one is still doing what I'm going to mention here, but if you are, get to work. So when it comes to uploading your images, they need to be keyworded. You shouldn't be uploading images DSC_007.jpg. It should read Babington House Wedding.jpg. Bride wearing Suzanne Neville gown at Uridge Manor.jpg. Something descriptive. Once you have your images ready to upload, and for WP Rocket and Imagify to do their work, I use another plugin to save me even more time. This plugin is called Auto Image Attributes from File Name with Bulk Updater. Long-winded title, but it's great. Every time I upload an image, the alt tags and description boxes in the media are auto-filled with the file name, hence why it's important not to have it as the camera defaults. A quick one about size. Make sure you're not uploading 6,000 pixel photos. They need to be correctly sized on export from Lightroom for your blog. Tip 9, rank math and SEO. So for a lot of years, I guess like many photographers, and you're still probably using it, Yoast SEO was my SEO plugin of choice. However, for the past 12 months, I've been using Rank Math. I just prefer it over Yoast. It all feels a bit more polished. With some work, you can get your pages to a green light, which is always the aim. Just check out these green lights on almost every post. And when it comes to SEO and ranking on Google, without floating my own boat, I feel like I know what I'm doing. That web design background really comes in. Here's a keyword ranking for my domain. Loads of these keywords in the top 10 positions on Google for keywords and phrases for venues or regions I've never even been to. I'm a wizard, Harry. Kidding aside, it takes hard work, and most of this was done in the Christmas downtime period. 10+ hour days creating content for about 3 months. I now do this weekly due to have more time for marketing, which is a byproduct of doing less weddings and charging more. Go figure. Get Rank Math or Yoast, it's totally your choice. I prefer Rank Math, but either or, you still need to get those green lights. Tip 10, Google Search Console. Once you have your blog posts or pages created, Google will eventually index your site. By the way, you should be submitting your sitemaps to Google. If you haven't, there's your first job today. Google Search Console is used to identify errors, uploading sitemaps, but you can also use the URL inspection tool. So when you have a new page or blog post, copy the URL and paste it into the Search Console URL inspector, and a button will come up saying request indexing. So you're telling Google, hey, I have some new content, can you come take a look? Now, there is no timescale presented for how quick Google is going to index your site, but it is a good thing to get in the habit of doing, as this page serves as a great example. I created this page, Puglia Wedding Photography, I submitted it to the index, and 24 hours later, I was ranked position 9 on the first page of Google for that keyword. Again, I'm a wizard, Harry. I'm a wizard, Harry. All joking aside, it's not wizardry, it's just hard work and some know-how. After this video, hopefully you have some tips and techniques and advice to help drive your website forward. So this video took me 2 hours to script and an hour to film and several hours to edit, export and upload. So if you found anything useful, please subscribe and like the video. It would mean a great deal and appreciate it so much for the amount of work. Anyway, I'm off to make another coffee before I create some more content for the website. So that was 10 tips for your website. Hopefully there was something in there that can help you. Please drop a comment in the comment section. And again, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I try to respond to all questions in the comments. Just keep them concise so I don't have to write an essay. I hope there's something in there that could help you. And I'll see you in the next video.